there's such a big difference, and Elko talked about it too, in going into the season knowing you're the number one quarterback, as opposed last year went into the season knowing he was the number two guy.
Yeah.
Did not expect to play. Probably prepared like he's supposed to. His dad's a coach. He's taught him. You got.
But it's different.
But it is. It is absolutely. Plus, you have an off season. Colin Klein had to tailor that offense to his specific skill set.
There's been jobs that I've had that when I was, quote unquote, the backup, I did it a certain way, right? I did it 100 miles an hour, but then when it was my job, there was a different level of, it's my job. It's my it's a different even level of you reach a different level of intensity, which isn't fair. That's not saying that you weren't intense before, but it's just a different kind of mindset when you attack it daily.
You want to put your signature on it.
Yep.
It's yours.
100%.
So, look, I think you're going to see more zone read. I think he's going to have it's going to be more, maybe it's going to be more end zone read. I think you're going to see
end zone Marcel Reed.
Yeah, the running the old end zone read. I think you're going to see, they're going to figure out what his best throws are.
Yep.
And you're just going to tailor your offense, say, what does this young man do best? Probably encourage him to run more than Connor last year. Probably also encourage him. All right, Aggies out there, you know what? I'm talking to you. Don't say you are. You ridiculously ridiculed Kyler Murray for sliding, which made no sense because that's self-preservation for a small. Marcel, run, get as much as you can, and slide.
Yep.
So A&M can end this string of 4 consecutive years with a quarterback who started the season not getting through unscathed. But so I think they're probably going to be spending a lot of times working on ways to take full advantage of Marcel's unique skill set, but also make sure that he lasts the whole year, or do the best you can to make sure he lasts the whole year.
And that's a good segue into this freshman class, because there are still ongoing negotiations with 2 kids that got drafted, Matthew Boughton and Chase Bentley. Matthew Boughton got taken in the 11th round by the White Sox. Bentley got taken in the 19th round by the Milwaukee Brewers. I've been posting updates in our transfer portal tracker thread on those. I should have a more definitive one soon.
Okay.
Where every day we are inching closer to what is this fall roster going to look like, and the decisions of those 2, whether they're going to sign professional contracts or come to A&M, will only further that further us toward that completion of the fall roster. Outside of that, they got some really talented players to school. They lost a couple, which is expected each draft, but they got some outstanding players to school. Okay, Nico Partita out of Pearland is one of the most talented baseball players in the state of Texas. He can play any infield position outside of first base. He can really hit. He also pitches. It's up to 98, 99 miles an hour. Okay, Boston Kellner might have been the best player in the state of Arizona, position player in the state of Arizona. Profile similar to Gavin Grahovic. Gavin's probably a touch more physical. Kellner's probably a touch more refined coming out. But very, very similar profiles to Gavin Grahovic. And then the guy that I don't think enough people are talking about in college baseball circles, and especially those that evaluated A&M's class, is David Ramirez from Clear Springs, a left-handed pitcher. There are folks that you talk to that have seen him for a long time that said they thought he was the best left-handed pitcher in the state of Texas. Now, Johnny Slowinski got that title. He signed with A&M. He got picked super early. He's going to start his professional career. But David Ramirez has got a ton of juice both inside the program and out. So they think this kid is going to come in, and if he's healthy, he missed over half of his starts his senior year with a back problem. It seems to be behind him now. But if he's healthy, he's as talented of an arm as they've got. And then when you do so you start looking at the pitching pieces that they brought in. And I love the late addition of Hunter Vincent out of Prosper. They got him super, super late. He was a kid that had been committed to Oral Roberts for a long time, then decommitted and opened it back up. A&M was able to win out there. He's got some really intriguing, especially his secondary stuff. I could see him pitching next year as a true freshman without question.
You know what happened to me, Billy? It's so weird. Like the spins that happen at media days from all programs, right?
Mm-hmm.
I came away like more impressed with John Mateer than I thought I would, just based on the intel from people. Like, and I knew what he did, right?
Yeah.
But like hearing the confidence from everybody about
Yeah.
that guy, like I kind of came away like, all right, maybe he is that guy. Maybe Jackson Arnold. A lot of people think he's going to be a difference maker. And I didn't come away from him that way, but I did with Mateer.
I'm the same way with Mateer. Everyone was raving about him, and I've watched cut-ups of him. I've watched the Twitter videos when he transferred in, and go back and watch some of his highlights for a couple minutes on YouTube. And I agree with what they're saying, but you just got a much more bullish vibe, not only on him, but on OU as well. I actually spent a good half hour talking to Jim Nagy, who is a good buddy of mine from all the years at the SEC.
Right. Great guy,
Media
by the way.
days. And we would, every year, me, him, and our SEC group would go to dinner. And we just have our annual dinner. That was the thing, one of those nights. And then he takes the job as OU's GM. Yeah. So we talked about OU, and we talked about Mateer in particular, and he was just telling me, about just him immediately just not taking over, but just being completely just fitting right into that locker room and really bringing, he said he's a big part of why you wouldn't think that was a team that went 5 or 6 and 7 last year, whatever they were, and just how he's kind of like he was a closer with offensive recruits in the later part of the portal, just things like that. So just to add to what you're saying, yeah, everyone seems really, really bullish on John Mateer, and we got to do a better job of finishing the season if we're put in a position to do that next year. I think that was the message that I got, and the message I got from Coach Elko. So this seems like a more serious football team than a lot of them I've seen. Like they seem like they get it. And I also think that's part of what went into Mike Elko and the choices of who he brought up here. Yeah. These guys projected and presented that. And from Elko, I think the more you hear him as this offseason goes on, I can tell the more bullish he is on his football team. The more he learns about them through the portal, the lack of portal exits, the additions, the midterm true freshman, which is almost the whole class, all the way through spring ball. Like, I think the more he's learned about this football team, the more bullish he's gotten. And you can tell he's really excited about two things: the experience that he's got coming back, the old players, the guys that have played a ton, and then also the NFL football players that are going to be in Maroon. By NFL, most of those guys were there last year too. So, but he's talking about guys that are their next step is the NFL. So they're going to play one more year of football, and they're going to be in the NFL at this time, next year. Which you get enough of those on a football team, you're going to win a lot of games, and you kind of have to have that. You don't kind of. You have to have that to win in this conference.
Well, I should probably move on because it's time for a break, but I'm going to read this because Pete Thamel, something you've said on the show many times, so I'm not, you've been saying it. Interesting nugget from Texas A&M's Mike Elko, who says winning the SEC typically means having around 13 NFL draft picks. We should get to double-digit NFL draft picks this year. That'll be the first time Texas A&M has done that in a very long time.
Did you follow up and look up how long?
I did not.
I mean, maybe one of the 75 people we have working can do that, but nobody's in here.
And unfortunately, when I Googled this, somebody from a Texas website had his comments on top of it. But
who?
Your boy Bobby Burton.
What did he say?
Very talented team. Talent, however, has not been the problem in College Station for a decade.
Yeah, it's true, not true. Like, yes, true in the standpoint of how they've recruited. Talent has not been a problem. He's not wrong there. And Bobby has covered recruiting forever. As long as longer than I've been in this. He is not wrong about that. The only time I thought talent was an issue at A&M was like
Like 12 years.
really pre-SEC.